What's up, Footer Nation?
Love
Gary
it. Love
Hootenholla
it.
here, and welcome to another episode, and the first episode of the summer season of the NYBS radio show right here in the great state of New York. As always, I got my awesome co-host, Kenny W. Irish, number one Amazon book bestseller. I
Stop
mean,
it.
everybody, come
Good
on, come
job.
on.
Good job.
Let's go, everybody.
Excellent.
And we have the new co-host and team member, Mike E.C. Whooppatrick
Hey,
from New
everybody.
Jersey. So
Hello.
that's awesome. Representing New Jersey.
Got a
So
rep.
got to rep. Oh, that's the way it is. That's the way it is. So I'm super stoked that we're back online here. As you know, we've been very busy. Life has been busy. Lots of changes in personal lives. But after talking with a bunch of you, talking to Kenny, getting Mike on board on this, we decided to do a limited summer session and start doing some podcast shows. So this summer, probably bi-weekly as we normally do, us three will be back here with other guests. And, once again, we'll be talking all things Bigfoot, from Kenny's festivals to the podcast shows Kenny's been doing. Mike and I will be talking Bigfoot field research, out in the field, coming up with new ideas and what we think may help any researchers and other people out there from a very logical standpoint. So, with that being said, Kenny, what's been going on, man?
Well, before I go into that, one thing I want to throw out there, you'd mentioned that we're going to have different guests on here. Put in the comments somebody that you might want to see come on the show to potentially, be interviewed. So if there's anybody in particular that, the folks who follow the podcast and follow what we do, anybody in particular, again, that you'd like to see, put it in the comments. Let us know, and we'll reach out to them. We definitely have some folks set up right now, but who knows what could happen. But so what's been going on? Just a lot of this, a lot of that. I'm just finishing up the follow up to American Cryptids. It's called International Cryptids and Legends. So that goes to the publisher to be looked over July 1st. It was supposed to be turned in June 1st, but I got behind. And just been doing different podcasts with different individuals. It's just been a lot of fun, and just a lot of consumed time with the podcast, the interviews, and as well as some of the festivals that I've been at recently. I was just recently at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival in Townsend, Tennessee. I was there with the guys from Mountain Monsters, Wild Bill and Huckleberry and Buck. They were all there, as well as my good friend and one of the best researchers and guys I know, Ken Gerhard. So it was great, being able to hang out with him and see him, as well as Ron Moorhead was there, the gentleman who recorded the Sierra Sounds, and it was just a phenomenal festival. They had like all Sasquatch festivals, they had the calling contest, which I got to actually be the judge on for one of them, which was really cool. I was really able to enjoy that, as well as there was they had wood carvings there. They had that guitar player guy Slash Squatch, who was there. Amazing guitar player, very very talented, and they even had that band Mini Kiss. That
These
was
guys are
there.
awesome.
So it literally had something for everybody, and it was just there were so many vendors there. There was so much. There was just literally like food everywhere. It was just phenomenal. So that was last month, May 7th, and the beautiful part about that was it's the first event that I've been able to fly out to and bring my daughter with me. So that was awesome. We flew out on a Friday. They put us up in a beautiful cabin, and it's the first time I'd ever been in Tennessee, and it was just so much fun. And again, a huge blessing to be able to be there with my daughter. My daughter's 17, so usually daughters at that age really don't want anything to do with their fathers at this point in time. But she came along. She had a phenomenal time. She made some friends there, friends that she still texts with back and forth, and it was just, again, just a lot of fun, a lot of great people, a good time. And in March, I was out in Rochester for the Rochester Parafest, which is another phenomenal event. It's a bit smaller, but all the proceeds go towards our veterans. So it's one of those events where nobody. I mean, everybody pays their own expenses. So all the money that comes in, nobody gets paid anything, and I love being a part of those types of events, especially for the veterans. If you get an opportunity to go to the Rochester Parafest, they have it every year in March. Definitely go on out and support it. They opened it up with some veterans coming in with the flag, and I found this out after it had started, but there were, I guess, a couple gentlemen that were always part of it, part of the event in the past, and they weren't there because unfortunately, they had, in the recent months, taken their own lives from, struggles of, being in war and PTSD and coming back. So again, that event is to raise money to help awareness and to help the veterans. So as they go over, and whether you agree with them fighting the war, none of that really matters at the end of the day. It's a matter of taking care of them when they come back. So again, that's the Rochester Parafest. If anybody's able to support that next year and come out to it, it's a phenomenal event. A lot of great people there, from a lot of people from different TV shows were there, and just all donating their time. And then the next one I've got coming up, it's Michigan Bigfoot Conference in Michigan, an area that I've never been in again. So I'm looking forward to that. Lyle Blackburn's going to be there. Russell Accord's going to be there, along with a bunch of other different researchers. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then in August, one of my favorite events is the Champ Day Festival, which is going to be Port Henry, New York. I'm going to be there this year like I was last year, but this year I'm one of the organizers, so I'm going to be there pretty much running around like a total complete maniac, trying to help make sure everything is set up. There's going to be some great people there. Some people that were there last year, like Paul Bartholomew, who's going to be there again. One of my friends, Ron's going to be there. He's coming up. I think he's from the New Jersey area. He's a big sea monster, cryptid, paranormal guy. Shatan Nora is going to be there. So it's going to be a good time, and it's right on the lake, and it's just a beautiful spot. It's actually on a campground, so if anybody's in, the somewhat near Port Henry, New York, definitely come out and support that event. It's growing every year, and it's again, it's a phenomenal event, and I love Champ, and that's why I'm a part of it. Like I always say, a lot of people see me as a Bigfoot guy, but in reality, I'm really a Champ guy, being from northern Vermont. And then I think it's August 13th. I'm going to be back in Tennessee. I'm going to be in Paris, Tennessee, at the Dogman Encrypted Conference that Paranormal Roundtable Josh Turner is putting on. Ken Gerhard's helping him organize it, but there's going to be a lot of people there. Nick Renfern's going to be there, and Jody Cook from the Dogman. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of it. There's going to be a lot of people there. There's going to be speakers there, and it's the first ever. So if you get an opportunity to be there at the first ever, definitely come out. It's going to be a phenomenal event. Really looking forward to that. And then in September, of course, the Whitehall, New York Sasquatch Festival. I plan on being there, and it's another phenomenal community event. It's a one-day event, but it's so fun to be at. Last year, Cart was there. But there's a lot of different researchers out of there. A lot of people know Steve Coles. He's always there every year. Again, Paul Bartholomew is going to be there, and a bunch of other people. So if you get the opportunity to come out there, that should be a fun time. And then Albany, the college in Albany, UAlbany, does a book festival in September every year, and they've reached out to me to be there as an author. So as of right now, I may be there. And then in October, the first ever paranormal Headless Horseman conference is going on in Tarrytown. So it's Sleepy Hollow Paracon. I'm going to be there selling books and hanging out. And then in November and December, there's a couple dates that I'm looking at for a couple other places. But I hope to be able to solidify those dates and be able to meet a lot of people that over the last couple of years, because of COVID, I haven't been able to. And but that's kind of where I'm at right now. And again, the book's getting turned into publisher July 1st, and hopefully be out by mid-August or so. All right, I'm gonna shut up now.
No, you're good. No, how do you feel about this book? I know you have this different way of writing, which you explain on a lot of podcast shows, which is awesome and very interesting. But how do you feel about the international book?
It follows the same formula as American Cryptids, but I've kind of had like a love-hate relationship with it, because there's a lot of bipedal flesh and blood type of creatures in all countries, but the majority of them also they kind of fall in like the spiritual realm as well, which I have no problem with that. But some of them, like I try to avoid anything that really talks about anything evil. But when you leave the United States, I mean, there's some weird monsters and cryptids and legends in the United States. But the second you leave the U.S. and you go out to these different countries, like right now, I'm working on the chapter for Ecuador. Just some crazy, nutty stuff. That's just, I mean, you try to make sense of anything in the United States, and you can't. I mean, once you leave the country, I mean, some of the legends, again, they're very cool, but it's just I've just kind of had a love-hate relationship with it, because I'm also a Christian, so I try to avoid kind of anything that's scary evil. So it's been kind of I've been kind of going back and forth with it, but overall, it's I mean, I I've had some people read it. I've had it entered into a critique group, so that way, again, it's not just people I know reading it, so I could get some true feedback from it. And I've gotten some really good feedback. I've gotten some some honest feedback, and so I did see what they were saying, and I made some changes. So other than that, I mean, I'm looking forward to getting it done and getting it out there. The forward is actually going to be written by Josh Turner of Paranormal Roundtable as well. So, again, just one of those things that, I don't know. I guess as a writer, sometimes I know with every manuscript I've ever written, I've struggled with it for one reason or another. And that's kind of, I guess, the reason with this one, and why I've been kind of, I guess, kind of why I say a love-hate relationship, if you will.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Like I say, you're super busy and you get to go to a Dogman convention. I never even heard of a Dogman convention. It's just like you say, like this one's the first one, but has there been others?
Yes and no. I mean, they've had like small little festivals for like the Beast of Bray Road, but not really. There really hasn't been anything. It's been a combination. So, I mean, one of the things I know that Linda Godfrey there wants to be at this festival, but I know that please everybody keep her in your prayers, because her health hasn't been that good. So she may still be there, but in giving a lecture, but more of like in like a Zoom type of thing on a big screen. Which would be just as awesome. Anybody who's met Linda, she's a very sweet lady, very kind lady. So she's again, hopefully, she can be there in person. But if not, I believe that they plan on having her, on a Zoom meeting and giving a lecture. But there is one other one that is going on this year. I'm not sure. I know it's near Bray Road, I believe, where they're having it. But it's really small. There's a lot of people that are on the list to speak, but I mean, I don't know who any of them are, and that's not a knock. I'm just saying I don't know a lot about it. So, Hopefully, they get a great turnout and all goes well for them.
Yeah, they're gonna bring on more events, which is good.
Yeah, agreed.
That's awesome. Kenny is always super busy, so I hope everybody caught up on all that. I guess locally we have Champ Fest, you said, and the
Yeah.
the Whitehall Festival again. I think locally, right?
Yeah, yep, and then the Sleepy Hollow
The Sleepy
Paracon,
Hollow thing, yeah,
which
and
was
the
in
Sleepy Hollow Paracon.
yep, that's in Terrytown, where the legend of Sleepy
Yeah.
Hollow actually
Cool.
originated. So yeah, I mean it's a first annual, and I'm just a vendor at that one. Chris Sanders is the gentleman putting it on, and he's a paranormal guy, and I just in American Cryptids, when I covered New York, I mentioned Terrytown and Sleepy Hollow because it's one of the stories I've loved ever since I was a child. And when I heard Chris was putting this one together, I just jumped on board. I'm like, whatever. I just want to be there. I think it's going to be fantastic. And again, it's going to be in October, right before Halloween. So it's just one of those events that's the timings of it is really cool, and the location is really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Should
Awesome.
be a good time. Should be a real good time. Fantastic.
Very cool. Were you doing the steampunk thing again?
I don't know. I know that is in October as well.
I saw it pop up, and I know that you were interested in it before.
Yeah, I went there. I was actually part of it last year. If I do go this year, I'll probably just go to go because
Okay.
I mean they've got so many vendors there, and it's outside, and it's just everybody's dressed up. It's just a really 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 neat environment. But again, it's outside and it's in October, so it's also cold as hell. So to be there, for like, because it's a 2-day event. It's from Saturday all day Saturday and most of Sunday. So it's really really cold out. And
what do you bring with you, Ken? What do you wear when you go? You wear make your own steampunk?
No, well, people do. Me personally, snow pants and a hat, and yeah, it's cool. But yeah, I mean, people were walking around because it's a Halloween event. It's called I can't remember what it's called, but it's a Halloween event as well. So like the kids are all dressed up. The whole place is decorated, and again, it's a really really cool experience. So
that is really neat.
And they're having it. It's in New York. I can't remember the name of the town, but they have it at the same place every year, and it's a really really neat event. So if you guys this fall don't want to just go out to a bunch of different pumpkin patches and pick pumpkins, you want to go to some different events, and again, they've got anything you could think of. There's a vendor there selling it, as well as there's food, and again, just a real cool environment. It's kind of like if you ever watched the movie Halloween Town, where they actually end up in Halloween Town. That's what it's like. I mean, everybody's walking around.
That is neat.
It's just all us weirdos, just kind of
like a weirdo Renaissance festival type situation.
Slash nerds, yeah.
That's awesome.
Slash nerds.
I kind of want to go now.
Yeah,
it looks really cool. All right, so once again, I mean, you heard Kenny's a busy man, so definitely check him out, watch him. As you know, he's always out and about, and go visit him. He always has great stories to tell. But let's get to our guest tonight. So Mike E.C. Patrick out of New Jersey. Like I say, he's a new co-host, new member to the NYBS Army, as we like to say. And as always, thank you, NYBS Army, for supporting us and following us and listening to us yap all day long. I know we've been very quiet on the Facey Space pages. Honestly, if we have nothing to talk about, we have nothing to talk about. So we're not going to talk about nonsense. We're just going to tell you what it is. From a quick standpoint of what we're finding in the woods, that's a big fat nada. Now, I do have some strange stuff that's been happening, as I've been talking about here and there. But overall, if you want to know what we've been finding, we're a day late, as I like to say. We're a day late. I think right now they're not in this area, so we're just a day late. I have nothing to talk about, though, so we're not going to fake that we have something to talk about. So, with that being said, Mike, take it away. So, tell us about yourself, man. And this is your moment to shine.
All right, my moment to shine. Oh boy, no
Oh,
pressure.
shine.
Okay,
Oh,
so
lots of pressure.
I just want to say thanks for everybody who's joining the podcast. This is my first podcast, so hopefully I don't appear too nervous, and I represent the NYBS and and everybody that's doing good things out there in research. Um, a little bit about me and how I got started in this is when I was around like 9 years old. I'm kind of aging myself now, but the $6 Million Man episode with Bigfoot, was there. I posed that question to my father when he was alive. I said, "What is that?" And my dad's like, "Oh, it's just some hairy Bigfoot they call it. It's not real." And I thought, well, why would they represent something like that in a TV show if it wasn't real? And at 9 years old, I'm online looking like Bigfoot, and first thing I see it pops up is like the Patterson gimbal and stuff. And now I'm like, okay, my dad said doesn't real and exist, but here's this video. I'm like, okay, something doesn't make sense here. Would my dad lie to me? I don't think he would. And 9 years old, you kind of like, yeah, all right, little half hour in, you're like, all right, let's go play some baseball now. So you kind of blew it off. And as I got older, I kind of brought it back around again, thinking, okay, with the shows that were out there, it came about, the BFRO and all that. And I'm like, it piqued my interest back in like 2010. And my background, I'm an IT guy by profession. I'm a systems engineer, Cisco and Microsoft. And I was a previous police auxiliary officer for a local town, in New Jersey. And I was there for about 8 years and, worked with the detective division on some stuff and always wanted to grow my knowledge of police work and detective work and trying to get my hands in everything I was allowed to so I can just grow, and end up leaving the department after about 10 years and got into IT side of it and SOC security and volunteered with a local park system here in New Jersey where I ended up retiring from it at 25 years of service. And I built trails in the forest and woods. I know about trees and tree falls and breaks. And when you look at these things, like you're trying to figure out, how did this tree break this way? Why did it break? Was there a snow load? Was there a high wind? Was there a downdraft? And you look at this stuff. So in 2014, I did my first BFRO expedition in South Jersey, and I loved it. It was awesome. It brought all my energy back. The biggest thing was being with like-minded people, and, we have family and friends who say, it doesn't exist. Well, I always come back saying, BFR reports 20,000 people can't be nuts, And again, that's just the public database. I'm sure the investigator database, which we know has more. So there has to be some truth to this, And it piqued interest, got involved, and did the BFR expedition for those 4 days, and came away with just this awe of like, I can do this. I can use my knowledge and background and training to investigate this. With casting, I did it with the police department. We had tire prints and footprints and handprints and and dusting for prints. I have that knowledge, and I have the knowledge of trails, outdoor trails, and building them, and what it takes to look at this stuff. And started going on my own for about a year, going out there and just getting out with no regard, no interest, saying, I need to see something. I said, if it happens, it happens. I have to keep an open mind to this. I do believe they are flesh and blood. I do believe they are real. It's just, the point is, do I really want to see something that I don't know what it is? My heart says yes, but my mind is like, not really. How are you going to react? And I'm out there, putting the boots on the ground. And when I go out, I keep an open mind. I do believe in the paranormal. I do believe in other realms. I do believe there's other things out there beyond our control that we don't know of. There's always something greater than us. It has to be. So when I'm out there, I take my time and look at things. Like, one thing I learned, from one of the books I read by the many authors, is that you look at a tree branch, look at the very end of the tree branch, see if it's actually bent and rounded, and if the stick is facing a certain way. That could mean something. If the stick is, you look at it pointing to the left, and all of a sudden your trail goes to the left or to the right. Okay, why is it bent that way? Well, I'm going to go that way and investigate and see what's over here. We look at X-ups. Okay, great. Does that mean keep out? How high is it? Are the bases of these structures, are they intact in a root ball? Go over, get on your hands and knees, put your glasses on, dig away that duff and see, is it attached to a root ball? Is it just stuck in the ground? How far down? Is it a flat cut? Is it snapped? These are things we want to look at because we're taking all this information in to figure out what did this. I'm the type of guy, I'm not going to say everything is Bigfoot. I can't. I have to look at the science side of this, okay, and really look to say, okay, what could have caused this? High wind could have broke the limb off and dropped it down, and landed on the ground, and when it landed, it just tilted over. But sometimes, they do land in a certain pattern, and you could look at it going, okay, is this an X up that Sasquatch or Harmony Friends made, or somebody else playing games? And the areas we're in, we have to look around on a map and just see, okay, what's the nearest house around me? Is there a school, a park, a playground, baseball fields? What is around that area I'm investigating? Are there streams? Are there rivers? Are there power lines? We hear that they follow these things. They follow streams and power lines. I mean, my God, in the 2014 BFR expedition we did in South Jersey, we casted prints, adult-sized prints and juvenile-sized prints. So when you look at this, like, these are things that are out there, and we have to take our time and see what is making these and where is it coming from, and keep an open mind. Look around, look at the environment, take your time. What is near me? Okay, that's going to be the base of our research. Is you formulate your hypothesis, then you gather that evidence at the same time. Review your evidence. Now, once you have the hypothesis, think about it, investigate it, do secondary research on it, go back to that location and look again. Go it further out, go 10, 15, 25, a mile out, see if you find something similar, to what you're seeing. And take that hypothesis, now debunk it. Say, okay, what could have caused this? All right, I'm going to check the weather service maps. Was there a tornado in that area? Was there a hurricane? Was there a downblast or downdraft to cause these things to happen? Everything I look at when I go to these websites and check, there's really nothing happening for weather events. Okay, now I'm going to look at nearest campgrounds and residences. If there's nothing around for hundreds of miles, is it a local trail that people frequent? Is there a parking lot? If not, then now I have to look at this, okay, what else could be here to cause this? Are there, animals that can do this? Of course, we know there are. They chew through trees and they fall over. But if there's no tree bites, what else could do this? So when you look at this stuff, keep an open mind. Don't rush, into it and say, okay, I got to go through here. I'll go to the next thing, and just keep walking fast and going. Take your time, slow down, smell the air, look and see what these glyphs or these tree breaks are, even teepees. We see so many new sites out there of people posting up teepee structures. Okay, and I don't knock anybody. I'm new at this. I'm no expert. I'll never be an expert. And really, there are no experts in Bigfoot. Okay, what we have is just people videoing evidence, and footprints. What more can we get from this evidence? There has to be a science side to this. We know that science has to prove something is there. If we can do that, we're on that right track. So when you're out there, create a log everything that you do. Note it, the temperature, the climate, the date. Is it raining? Is it hot? And then, excuse me, when you look at everything gathered in the year of your research, you should see a pattern. It's going to stand out. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb going, oh my God, in this month, it was this hot day in the 90s and I saw these few things. Or it was cold and I had more activity during the cold. Could it be that they do come out at colder weather? Sure. Could they also come out at rain? Sure. Why would they come out? Michael and Tina, do I sound like I never done it before? I'm passionate, and I'm a big believer
Great.
in helping others. You know, I want to help others because when I asked to have somebody show me, you know, and this was, I'm not going to name names, it was somebody in higher up who does this for a long time. You know, I kept getting the cold shoulder. You know, yeah, okay, I'll call you, I'll get back to you. You know, and months went by and years went by. I never got even an email response. And for me, that's not really right. You know, you have somebody who is interested in learning about this. Take them under your wing if you want, if you have the time. Guide them the way that you know, and get as many books as you get your hands on and read, because everybody's book, while some things are similar, there are things you will notice that there are differences. Take those differences and add them all up and look and see. You know, just take your time, keep an open mind. You know, log things, take pictures, make sure you check things. Don't just post up a TP picture without checking, like, you know, TP height or log length or cuts. Is it in the ground? You know, get inside. How high is it? Could something that we know is these beings who are enormous fit inside this? So I think that's what we need to look at. You know, and you look at my background, you know, all these toys I play with, you know, and I find that whenever I see something that might work for me, I'll try to save up for it and buy it. You know, thanks, Ed. Love you, buddy. And it's just trying to find the right tools to do the job, you know, and make sure that you put your heart into it. Don't ever tell somebody, well, I get that can't be true, because we truly don't know if it is. You know, there's so much out there that we have our open our mind to, and just have that passion to look at it, you know, and pick it apart, you know, in your own terms. You know, you don't got to go on a website and blast somebody that they're wrong or you're stupid. Or I just kind of shy away from those sites.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody in their own way has their own proof and their own beliefs, and we should never knock that. You know, we take it and embrace it and say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this person is saying this. Did I see that? You know, did I log that? Go back in my book and check. You know, and just be yourself. Don't be
Mm-hmm.
somebody fake. You know, that's what I preach. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, one of the reasons why you and I got together, and one of the things I love about you is like you're just a positive person. You know what I mean?
Thanks,
Like
Gary.
Kenny, no, you don't have to thank me for who you are. It's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Kenny, myself, you know, we're very positive people. We try to give that positivity all points in time. You know, we never hate on people. You know, it's just like at the end of the day, just do things, you know, in a positive manner. Don't bother anybody. And if you don't believe what they're talking about, it, you know what, still listen, because you could still learn
Yeah,
something. You
agreed.
know, we don't have an answer. Regardless, like you and I, we think it's a maybe a flesh and blood type creature, right? But that
Right,
doesn't mean that we're right. It
right.
doesn't. We have nothing to back that up. I mean, you could talk about hairs, you can talk about DNA, you could talk about all that stuff, right? But
Yeah,
my point is, what proof is there still? Zero. It's all
right.
speculation, and it's all he said, she said, and it's all you know. Oh well, it's a unknown blah blah blah, or it's a bear. You know what I mean? We can go on
Yep.
and about that,
You
but
go everywhere with that thing, you know,
everywhere.
and
But
there's so much you can get into.
exactly, and but at the end of the day, it's all about that love, that positivity, that passion is what is the Bigfoot field, in my opinion, is really all about. Come on, this is a glorified hobby. That's
Yeah,
it. That's it. We're not scientists. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
even though all my background is in science, I have the background for that. I'm still not a scientist that's going to go in a DNA lab and start pulling apart the mitochondria, DNA, and all that stuff. I don't have that. I don't have that background.
yeah.
So when you
It's
look at say the people that need to do it are the people that, you know, we can as citizens, you know, we're citizen scientists. And a lot of
yeah,
people don't really even know what that term is. But as a citizen scientist, we're just kind of getting out there doing the work that others aren't,
yeah,
you know, and
yeah.
that's what I love about your passion. And, you
At
know,
least
and on top of that, you're a trail, you were a trail bro, you're a woods guy. You build
Yeah.
trails, which, I do too. You know, we know things that lots of other people don't. And, we're out there putting shovels in the roots and we're looking at all this stuff,
Yeah.
and, as a
Getting
trail
down and
builder,
dirty.
exactly. You're out there doing the muck work, building bridges and all this shit. So that's why it's much respect, because you're a boots on the ground guy that comes from your logic is awesome. So be proud of
Thanks,
that.
Gary.
That's something we're very proud of you for that, and we love that we have you.
And
Thanks, Gary.
that's the thing too, is like I always tell people, don't forget what you already know. Meaning, just because it, it's like make sure you apply logic first. And again, don't forget what you already know, and just kind of get off in the world of Bigfoot, because it's such a crazy world that sometimes you can be pulled in all these different directions. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
I always say, don't forget what you already know. If you already know that this can happen because of this, that doesn't mean it's Bigfoot related. It's just natural.
It's true.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right, Kenny. You're right,
Yeah.
100% spot on, man.
Yeah.
And when I look at this stuff, like I said, I keep an open mind and try to read as many books as I can. And my wife gets mad because I'm buying like 3 a week, and the bills coming from Amazon. But Kenny, I am gonna buy your book at Whitehall when I see you. I gotta get it. I gotta read it. It's intriguing. So, and I'm excited for your new book to come out too. I can't wait for that. You know. But yeah, it's just, if, like you said, stick to one thing, and that's what my focus is. I'm not out to prove anything. I'm not out to steal anybody's images or pictures or audio or even their fire. That's just not me. I'm the kind of guy that let them take the publicity, let them take the press. I'll sit in the background, because that's just how I am. I just want to help people and learn from them. I have some really great people. I started a research team, and actually, one of the members is in here right now in the chat. I'm not going to mention his name. His wife and him are wonderful people. I met them at last year's BFR expedition, and they have a wonderful habituation on their farm, and what they experienced and have seen and deal with is just blows me away. It's amazing. Again, I'm like I said, I'm not going to mention who they are because I don't want to give away anybody looking for them, and I'm not going to put them in harm's way if somebody trying to figure out who it is and where they're going to go. It's not me, but they're wonderful people that are, we all get out there when we can, and we go out there and we search and just look and take things in and listen. Biggest thing to do when you're out there in that woods and those forests is just listen. Stop and listen, because you'll be hearing all different kinds of sounds, and take those sounds in and recognize them. Birds, woodpeckers, owls, deer. Some areas have wild boar. And bears. We had one bear in New Jersey, apparently down in South Jersey about a month ago. So, these are things you got to take in and really listen to what's in your area, and get topo maps, investigate the area you're going to go out, do your due diligence and research, because it's going to benefit the researchers when they're out there knowing, okay, here's my game plan. I'm going to follow this riverbed to see where it goes and look for anything I can find. Keep an open mind, you know, and one thing I know, is that they're elusive. We know they're elusive. They're very well and adept at hiding from us. You know, I look at the cave systems too. Even the closed caves. Our state, New Jersey, we have hundreds of caves up in North Jersey that are closed off and sealed. One more are just a piece of wood over. Look at those caves, overlay them on a map. The maps I have behind me on my wall, over here and here, those are all New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. And on those maps are all the BFRO reports that are out there for those three states. I literally pinned every single report and read every single report from the BFRO for the three states. It took me 4 months to build this out. And then I did an Excel database to try and find a correlation. We know they're out at certain times of the year, certain months, certain days, certain areas, and weather patterns, weather conditions. We know they come back. If they find an area where they can sustain themselves and just pass through, or if they can live off that area based upon what's there, they're going to hang out for a while, and my team members know what I'm talking about, and these are things we need to look at. So when you look at patterns, and one thing I'm working on is a database. I'm an IT guy by trade. I'm a geek. Yep, I play with databases too, and I'm building out a database similar to what that old there was a TV show about finding Hitler. They had this machine that would scan and bring up documents that they put keywords in. Well, I'm doing it on the Bigfoot side because I need to see a pattern. If I can find that pattern, well, now I have not only the evidence because it's computer based and AI based, there are similarities. Now I take that information and I'll overlay it on a map to see where it falls into place. Now, once it falls into place, I'm looking at waterways, highways, food, livestock farms to see where I can see anything. And then I'll go out and investigate that from there. So it just have your set schedule, how you do things, document, keep an open mind, get out there and investigate and take copious notes and just keep an open mind to things. And then it'll all fall into place. And if any serious researcher that does this, I'm sure there are some that keep notes, and logs. And at some point you got to go back and look, okay, and find the differences and find the similarities and say, okay, could this be? That's what it comes down to. I mean, my perspective.
A good perspective to have. I mean, it's all logic. So, I mean, there's no way around it. That's what needs to be done. And I think, as you and I talk about a lot of times, that's one of the challenges and we're against is you have people like how we think that this is the way it needs to be done. And then you have people that are, nonchalant, go out and do, what they do. And that's fine and all. There's nothing wrong with that. Choose what you do. But, to get the data and like my boy Mike always makes fun of me in the chat. I'm like, data, and that's all I talk about. But you need that data. You need it. And even if nothing, there's no such thing as bad data. Even if nothing ever comes out of it, you still can have it backed up.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Get that data. And like, Mike Colantino just said, Mike, you're right. Those train tracks, those high energy areas, something is making them go into those areas and use those as travelways. It could be anything, energy, power lines, and, what could be there during them. Maybe it's a safe way for them. They know that there's going to be nobody near those lines, and they're going to take that as a travel way, and it just, we have to keep an open mind to things. And even like I said with caves, if you're out in the forest or in the woods and you come upon something that looks unnatural, like a tree or a bush that doesn't match the area that it's in, go investigate that because there could be something behind that bush that we don't know about, and do your due diligence. Get in there, take a look, take a picture, video it, and again, take a copious notes and recognize that. And then come back to that site maybe 6 months later and say, okay, is it still here? If it's gone, then something changed, and that's when it comes down to logging everything.
Yeah, and that's what it's about, that data, that data, and then you learn from there. That's how we learn. Yeah. Awesome. So before we end, what do you have like a favorite Bigfoot story?
Favorite Bigfoot story? Yes, and it's one that I recently just read. I'll say that some of my friends posted up that somebody was with another individual and they're keeping an open mind to things. And when they went into an area to leave a gift, okay, this other person, who I'll say is kind of like a medium, she can sense things and feel things. And she got this overwhelming sense of just calm, ease, and no harm. It was just an overall peace. And I'm like, wow, what did you do to experience that? And this person said they just went in this area where there was these beings around because they saw eye shine, they seen movement because silhouettes against lights, and they had that experience. And when they came out of that area into their area where they were camping, the person who didn't go looked at that person, and it was just a gleaming smile from ear to ear, and they experienced something that they may have been looking for or wanted to have for a long time. And to me, that was like, wow, that was the moment. Like, that is awesome. I am so proud for them, that
Mhm.
they had this, because it's something I think we all at some point want to experience. But I was proud for that person because they had that moment, and
Mhm.
for them, it was just something they'll never forget. And for me, it's like, this is awesome. This is
Yeah.
another story that is just comes away with wonders and amazement and just a great ending.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. No, and that's what we all look for is just that aha moment for each of us,
yeah,
whether we want it sometimes or not. Like you say, like you have your sightings that people don't want and it happens.
yeah,
And then they become obsessed with, the phenomena. Or like you say, that's awesome. So,
yeah.
all right, Footer
Great.
Nation. That's it for tonight. So nice quick show. You know, Mike is now aboard. We're
Thanks.
super stoked. And now you hear why we brought him aboard. And I mean, I am blessed that he wants to work with us. And I can't praise this dude enough. So definitely
Much
follow
love,
on.
Gary.
No, you're fine, man. It's you. It's all you. It's all you. Do you want
Thank
to
you.
plug your Facebook stuff and your other thing that you do now?
Yeah, sure. I just give a quick plug, and I noticed that the page owner is in this chat. Don't mention his name, but I'm going to say welcome. I'm glad you're here. But our Facebook group we have is called Bigfoot Experiences, and it's on Facebook. You can look us up. And the other thing I'm looking at now is I just joined MUFON as a New Jersey member, and I'm looking to get my MUFON investigator certification. And I got the blessing from the New Jersey State Director and Assistant Director. I built their first New Jersey MUFON webpage. So if you go to NJ MUFON, you'll look it up. It's right there, and that's what I'm part of now, too, in doing that. So, and it all ties together, in some way. You look at that, on the UAP UFO side, the hominid Bigfoot side, all those parallels in some way I feel do play a role.
Yeah,
But
I mean, we hear the stories. I mean, and you can't discredit the stories, So we do have that weird side of it for whatever reason it is. So awesome. Well, Mike, thank you so much.
thank you, Gary. Thanks,
Next,
everybody.
oh, of course, and next time. So what's going to happen going forward for the summer is, myself, Kenny, will be part of the first show with our guest. Mike will be coming in for the second half of the show, where Mike and I then dive deep into Bigfoot research and those kind of things that
Yeah,
we really want to dig into in the field. So,
all
if
this
you're
stuff.
a field researcher, or you want to become a field researcher, or you just want different ideas, definitely tune in because we're going to bring some new, fresh ideas. I mean, as you know, I'm always looking for new things and trying new things. But with that said, Footer Nation, thank you so much. Thank you, NYBS Army. And
Thanks,
as
everybody.
always, keep it squatchy, and we'll
Thanks
see
for
you
doing
from
it.
the trail. Deuces, everyone.
Peace.